Hi, while I was working on creating video for YouTube, I realized something. Flared2 isn't just a useful tool for creating procedural lens flares, it's also a tool that can give your videos a fantastic film look. Of course, its ability to create light sources where they exist and even where they don't, it's amazing. But all the other elements created by Flared2, now I will turn it off and now I'll turn it back on, work on the light and shadows, coloring them with gradients that move, giving them drama when necessary, as well as power and other emotions or emphasis that would be very difficult to achieve by other means. Often you would need to work on color grading in editing or other stages, while here you can work directly in the viewport, or you can export the flares separately and use other compositing programs. Let me show you just a few quick experiments. Here I tried changing the dominant color of this flare. Now we can see this area turning green. I can move it wherever I want. I can increase its presence to make it very noticeable, or I can limit its effect. I can move it around. I can add this light coming from the bottom. This way, the light comes from the console, so it's the music that colors the image. In another way, it's the city, because the light is coming from the horizon. In yet another way, the light comes from behind, so it's behind the subject, and those add emphasis. Let me show you more scenes where I've seen the evocative power generated by Flared2. Here's another example. This is Rome, a very beautiful and fascinating city for me because I live in Italy. This is a walk through Rome. Watch that Flared2 does to this scene. Now I'll remove it. This is flat, and this is one as life, form, emphasis, and an artistic look. In this shot, I can place the light point wherever I prefer. Here, too, there's the possibility to change the color. I can modify the tone that generates these light effects, moving toward more imaginative hues. In this case, Rome is even warmer. Watch what happens when I increase the brightness. Look at the movement and effects we can create to bring life to a scene that otherwise would be flat. We can also modify only the scale of the elements, leaving their brightness intact. This is absolutely a film look. Let's look at another example. Look at this very simple scene. It looks like it was made with a low-quality smartphone, and now I apply our lens flare effect, and this is what happens when we use Flared2 on a scene like this. I can also modify the ghosts, adjust the scale and brightness. Let's change the color, which is probably the most noticeable. Let's push this color towards red and see what happens. Let's boost them all. Look how beautiful it is. Look how the flare is working. I can disable the plane and here we see the flare by itself, showing how it works. This is also a great experiment to try. I can make the word black to see a cleaner flare, and this is what Flared2 is doing right now in this scene. It's amazing. It's a huge job done with many elements working in complex movements in real time. This very organic element you see here in the foreground is the light reflection, and we can completely modify it. We can also change the color that composes it. And then we can bring the video back into view. It's exciting to work this way because you can do things that would otherwise be impossible. Let me show you another one. You probably already know this because I've already done a tutorial on it. Here too, the position is completely up to us because we can place the light producing element wherever we want. And here too, if we change the color, we get completely different effects. We can create color, we can create this colder light, which isn't all African unless it's a moonlight effect. Even so, Flared wasn't designed to simulate the night during the day. One more, let's look at this. I had a nice scene with a knocker at work. Okay, here it is. Look at this scene. By the way, notice how the flare appears and its position is outside, and it only shows up when the lights come into the frame. So basically, the flare isn't there until the lights enter. It's doing this naturally because the flare is positioned. Wait, it's hard to see. The flare is positioned outside. Here, the flare is this. I can move it and bring it more inside. Let's go back to the camera now. Let's try moving the flare just to see what happens. I can bring it more into the scene. I can move it elsewhere. I can move it in the right side, projecting toward the left. Now it's very particular and imaginative flare. You've already seen that I change its color and everything, but I can also very quickly change the type of flare. Let's replace this with that other one. It's already loaded, it's ready. I can move it, adjust its scale, change its intensity, and modify its anamorphing effect to give it an anamorphic look. Look at how many things you can do with an add-on like this on a scene that otherwise are flat. Add-on like this completely changes the perspective of a scene in just a few moments. Let's see if I have one more, then I'll let you go back to your work, and I apologize for taking up all this time. This is actually a perfect scene for a lens flare because the scene has nothing. It's very flat. It's a backlight. By adding a flare, we can give the scene entirely new emphasis. This flare can always be where we want it, and then we can play with the rays, do whatever we want. Come on, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a demonstration of how many things you can do. There are tons of presets. You can load them one after the other on the fly. You can change them and see with the presets already included with the add-on what happens, or you can try building your own. You can save every preset you create, and it's going to be really fun to start working in this way. I highly recommend it. Well, I did it, so no worries. Thanks to everyone for watching. See you soon, and bye-bye. Thanks.